So when you look at particularly out right now, how do you gauge you got wins and losses, but then you got play within those wins and losses? So how do you measure either side when you're looking at the team?
Yeah, I think you, for the way I think anyway, I think you need a bigger sample size with the group that we have now. Pretty much everybody except those two, and then we'll be able to make an assessment. Having one game or two games with a guy and then he's out, and then you got like this group we have now, hopefully we can, make that assessment based on wins. But last night was a step in the right direction just based on the defensive output that we talked about in the third quarter, and then the assist number and the number of passes we had last night. We feel like without those two guys, the ball movement's going to be key because we don't necessarily have the guys that can break you down off the dribble and create their own shot the way that we normally would have. So I think we got to give this group a few games to really see what they can and can't do, and then make a judgment on it.
Saying that Chris was telling him sometimes you don't have to go 100 miles an hour. That easier said than done for someone like Pam who has that skill set.
I don't know if it's easier said than done, but I think it's necessary to figure it out. The best players, in my opinion, are the ones that can control their own pace. And some guys are effective playing the same way all the time, but the ones that can change that pace as it helps their team, I think those are the ones that, figure out a way to be effective. There's guys like Jokic, he never changes his pace, but it works for him and nobody can change it. Whereas there's guys like, Chris and Book and guys that have dynamic speed, but they also can slow it down. And I think for Cam, like that's another level for him to get to, is understanding when to go, when to slow down, and how the game dictates that part. So Chris probably said it better than I could have.
Did you see some of that change of pace last night? It seemed like he was, he ain't got a lot of distance.
A little bit. There were times in transition where he could have taken off, but he, one way to change the pace is just throw the pass ahead. It doesn't necessarily, you don't have to change pace with your dribble. You can change it with your pass. And I think that's when you become really efficient, when you understand changing the pace doesn't necessarily mean you're with the ball. It could be just a hit ahead pass that allows for him to maybe get it back and then he takes off. And I thought he did a really good job, he and Aaron, of kicking it ahead to guys last night.
Monty, I was curious with Devin, just the conversations with him over the course of this last 24 hours, and maybe clearing out his frustration.
I haven't talked to him. We texted yesterday morning, and he was just intent on getting back. I'll probably speak to him today, but yesterday was one of those whirlwind days where you didn't know for sure, and then you find out he's out. And then I had, the game prep, and then all the emotions that go with a day like that. So I'll speak to him today. But I text with him in the morning, and he was, he just wanted to get back on the floor. And you guys know Book. I mean, been around him longer than I have.
On an unrelated note, Jay has been attacking off the dribble more in this time. How important is it for guys like him as a veteran who doesn't take a lot of shots to realize, this is a time for me to start going into it?
Well, he's been doing it in spots all year long. We had one conversation earlier in the year, and I hope it was a benefit to him, because I see Jay having more in his game than he's, able to display or needs to, whatever the case may be. I was like, just do it. He makes winning decisions, and he's gotten so much more comfortable shooting that floater. I think it helps us to have guys like Jay and Cam and Mikal, primary rotation guys that can play in different dimensions. And I think he's done a really good job of mixing in, the catch shot, the pump fake side step shot, and now the attacking to make a play.
To your point, Jay was a guy earlier in his career who shot a lot at the rim, but now at this stage of his career, he's going to the floater more instead. From your experience over the years, how important is it for guys at this stage of his career to still add more elements to their game and not just sticking to what they know? Because people label him as like a 3-and-D guy, and it's like he's still adding stuff to his game.
I think it's important. One, it allows for you to, bring value to your own career, but I think as you get older and things start to change, you don't have the bounce that you once had. You better learn how to use what you got, and I think that's the key to staying in the league. Somebody sent me these clips of Chris from back in the day, and people they forgot how athletic and dynamic Chris used to be. He's just figured it out. Chris can go down and out for 10 yards the whole game, and then next thing you know, it's a fly route. He just knows when to do it, and Jay does it in a different way. I think as you get older, you figure out how to pick your spots and how to use your athleticism and your quickness and whatever you have for where you are.
Coach, Jay's known for defense, of course, and now that he's older and he had 5 steals last night, and he had the 2 pivotal crucial steals against the Clippers a couple weeks ago before the break. So when you talk with him about being a defensive anchor, meaning that he's second in steals behind Chris and defensive rebounds behind Chris?
I haven't. I think it's just who he is. That's what, over the course of his career, he's been a primary defender and a versatile defender. I think the longer you're in the league, you understand the importance of scouting report and tendencies, and that allows for guys like Chris and Jay to know where the pass is going or know where a guy's going to be to get a deflection or a steal. But I haven't talked to him about those 2 concepts at all. He's a really good defensive player.
This iteration of the Suns, Chris and Book being out, this him he's proud on defense, basically amplify maybe himself as one of the best defenders that he doesn't get maybe the credit for.
Yeah, he never has, and I probably haven't done any help or any benefit to our guys. I think we have a number of guys that should get recognition for all defense. Mikal, Jay. I've talked to, Chris tends to get more attention than most because he's been all defensive guy a good majority of his career. Book doesn't get enough for the elite scorer that Book is. His ability to defend his position and guard and stick his nose in there and put his body on guys on the backside certainly doesn't get enough attention. And we've been a top 5 defense for a majority of the season, and yet we don't get the recognition individually from writers or whomever is doing that stuff. And I probably could do a better job of talking about it because we have really good defenders on our team.
It's almost like you said, I need to be a top 3 or 5 defensive team and not have someone that's
I mean, it makes you think about the all-star stuff. How can Cam Johnson not be in the 3-point contest with his shooting percentage and what we've done? And I was there, I looked at the lineup and I'm like, holy smokes, like, why is Cam not out there? You know what I mean? And I think the winning should be graded into all of that. If you have a top 5 whatever, then the guys who are responsible for that should be recognized for it, and it doesn't necessarily work out that way.
Monty, the last thing I had is when Jay or McKellar knew those guys make a floater, they do this thing.
I don't. It's
do
like
you notice any of that?
I do, and it's like every once in a while I'll do it in practice, but I have no idea what it means, so I probably shouldn't do it. But I see it and I just laugh. I always say, do whatever you want as long as you're getting back on defense. I don't care. I mean, I've seen the guys do it. I think it's funny. We were in practice the other day and Jay shot a floater and I was at half court and I started doing it. Everybody, thought I was having a back spasm or something. So.
Is
that unique in your experience to have, pregame cams bouncing around? You've got Mikhail and Ayton, singing, and just kind of that joy that this team has.
Yeah, there's joy and then there's goofiness, and we have to be careful of that. And I want to choose my words wisely, but I don't want anybody to mistaken that for our guys not being serious and working. And I've seen some of that, and I think it's something that is good, but it's got to be in its proper place. And I've shared that with, guys before. Like, unfortunately, when you show that kind of stuff, you typically only show 5-6 seconds of it, but nobody shows the guys working. And so you have to be careful on what you want displayed to the nation. And so, yeah, I don't mind it, but I also feel like it has to be contextualized the right way, because it can come off in a weird way at times. We want our guys to have joy. We want them to be excited about coming to the gym, but I think whether it's social media, national media, sometimes we tend to focus on the things that really don't matter. What really is important is what we do on the floor and how hard we work.
Thank you, Monty.
Yep, thank you. Yep, thanks.
Good point. I just ain't gonna stop it. That's the kind of team he's got. He has that kind of team. So you can't get him now, but I think there's a moderation. That's what I'm saying. That's what they go. You won 50 games. Now they were split. Well, but split. Oh yeah. You know,
Don't get too comfortable.